David Raskin, a gifted high school senior, is recording a presentation of his best invention. Through this video, he hopes to secure a scholarship to a prestigious technological institute. His sister, Christina, is behind the camera, while his two longtime friends, Adam and Quinn, stand beside him in the shot. The friends launch a flying device into the air, and David takes control of it using his unique invention. However, during the test, David's phone unexpectedly rings, causing him to lose connection with the drone, which then dramatically crashes to the ground.
The experiment was a complete success.
Sometime later, David receives a long-awaited letter from the admissions office. Surrounded by family and friends, he opens the envelope, only to discover that while he's been accepted into the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, it's on a paid basis. He was denied the scholarship grant, and his mother can't afford the costly tuition on her own. This news leaves our character in a state of deep disappointment, but his friends refuse to let him stay down for long. As they leave the school parking lot, Quinn even tries to set him up with the most beautiful girl in school.
Hey Jesse, David wants to take you out.
When David arrives home, he notices a "for sale" sign on their lawn. His mother has decided to sell the house to pay for his education. Feeling even more disheartened, David heads up to the attic. Among his late father's old belongings, he hopes to find something that might help solve his financial dilemma. His father was a successful inventor who left behind many interesting projects after his tragic death. Soon, David stumbles upon an old video camera that belonged to his father, containing footage of David's 7th birthday. While watching the tape, the guys accidentally spots a strange reflection in the mirror that looks exactly like our character at his current age.
We're wearing the same shirt.
Holy shit.
Piecing together the sequence of events, friends realize that the mysterious figure in the video was likely heading to the basement. When they head downstairs, they find themselves in David's father's workshop, where they discover a hidden trapdoor in the floor. Using one of the switches to unlock it, they retrieve a metal container and a folder filled with scientific documents. After examining the papers, they realize they've uncovered blueprints for a time travel device that David's father had been developing for a secret government agency. Remembering the strange figure in the video, Quinn suggests they build the machine. In the next scene, the guys are shown shopping for supplies at a hardware store before starting on the rough assembly of the device. They also agree to document everything on father's camera so that any mistakes can be easily corrected later.
Let's hit it.
The preliminary tests were successful. Friends decided to see the project through to the end. David's father had worked on this project over a decade ago, and since then, technology had advanced significantly. Quinn had to sacrifice his Xbox, and Adam suggested using a mobile phone as the control panel. All these innovations helped the team simplify the design and make it more compact. During one of the tests, our character noticed a large ink stain on his shirt. Identical to the one on the person in the old video, now there was no doubt. It was David in that footage, meaning they really could build a time machine. The only missing component for the device, which they couldn't buy anywhere, was liquid hydrogen. Risking expulsion, friends decided to steal it from the school lab. Finally, everything was ready for the first full-scale test. The time travel machine required a significant amount of energy. Conveniently, there was a student party happening across the street, so David decided to power the device using one of the parked electric cars. Just as the experiment was reaching its peak, the car's owner, Jesse Pierce, appeared in the basement, accidentally witnessing their unusual activity.
Get down!
Guys successfully sent a toy car into the past, but the process caused a blackout in the entire neighborhood. On top of that, a stranger had now discovered their secret. Initially, the group tried to avoid Jessie, but when they saw her car keys, they realized she was now part of their team and decided to bring her up to speed.
All right, guys, we need to move away from the car. Everything right? Get some clearance?
Yeah.
After improving the machine, the whole group successfully traveled back to the previous day. They sneaked into the house where past Quinn was sleeping and drew on his neck with a marker. The drawing instantly appeared on present Quinn. The noise almost woke up the guy, causing a disturbance in the time continuum. Frightened, friends quickly rushed outside and managed to return without significant consequences. Upon making the return jump, they noticed the neighbor's dog had unknowingly traveled with them. As they drove around the neighborhood, they saw missing posters for the dog. This made guys seriously reconsider the potential consequences of such reckless time jumps. After discussing what had happened, they agreed to use the machine only under strict rules, the most important being to never jump alone and to always monitor each other. At first, everything went smoothly. Quinn used the jumps to retake important exams and improve his grades. Christina stood up to a school bully in front of the whole class. Adam made some money by betting on his favorite team's victory, knowing the outcome in advance. These small successes led the group to take a bigger leap. After learning the winning numbers in advance, they entered a national lottery with a grand prize of over $50 million. Unfortunately, Quinn had written down the last number incorrectly, so they only matched 5 out of 6 numbers. However, this was still enough to win a substantial amount.
Come on now, guys, come on, this is great.
The teens spent their winnings fulfilling their desires. Girls bought out all the trendy clothing stores, while the boys started throwing money around to impress their peers. Only David gave part of his winnings to his mother and used the rest to buy new components to improve the machine. According to his calculations, this would allow him to jump back as far as 10 years, possibly preventing his father's death. To celebrate their win, the friends decided to attend an epic music festival they had all missed before. At the festival, they had a blast, enjoying every moment. Left alone, Jesse begins to flirt with David, but he, through his own awkwardness, managed to ruin the romantic moment. After this incident, the relationship between young people becomes strained. Jesse starts avoiding David. In an attempt to fix the situation, our character decides to break his own rule and makes a solo jump. This time, at the festival, he responds to Jesse's advances, and upon returning, he discovers they are now a couple. David's plan worked. He won the heart of the girl he had longed for. However, their careless handling of time set off a chain of events leading to unforeseen consequences. At a group meeting, Adam suggests that their jump to the music festival is to blame. He proposes going back and undoing it. But in this case, the romantic moment between David and Jesse will never happen, and they'll just remain friends. Unwilling to accept this, David conducts his own investigation and concludes that he can fix everything on his own. Armed with the camera, he begins jumping through time, but each attempt to improve the situation only makes things worse. Fixing one problem immediately creates another. In one reality, his mother loses her job. In another, Adam ends up in the hospital. And in yet another, his actions cause a plane crash. During one of his jumps, Jesse accidentally follows David into the past. Standing on the street, the guy tries to explain everything to her. But at that moment, another Jesse, one from this timeline, approaches them.
Let's go.
David.
No!
The encounter between the two Jessies causes a disruption in the time continuum, leading to both of them disappearing. Panicked, David tries to make another jump, only to discover that the machine has run out of hydrogen. After calming down, he realizes that to truly fix everything, he needs to go back to the very beginning, 10 years ago, and destroy all the secret blueprints. As he shares his plan with Quinn, the police quietly surround his house, suspecting him of being involved in Jesse's disappearance. Narrowly escaping capture, our character sneaks into the school lab and steals the necessary fuel element. He activates the machine just as the police break in and sends himself back to his 7th birthday, 10 years ago. Amid the noisy party, no one notices the presence of the older David, though he is caught on the birthday video. Heading down to the basement, Guy encounters his father, who is busy working on the blueprints. Father recognizes his now grown son and realizes that he has succeeded in building the time machine. Relatives share a heartfelt moment where David contemplates warning his father about his impending death, but ultimately decides against it, understanding the consequences. He convinces his father that creating the machine was a grave mistake and that all materials related to it must be destroyed. Father agrees, then hurries off to work, the very trip where he will meet his untimely death. As Man leaves the basement, he also bids farewell to the 7-year-old David, while the older David burns all the blueprints. Soon after, he vanishes from this timeline, leaving behind his camera with the footage of all that has happened.
You guys ready for this?
The scene shifts to the moment when our character is digging through old stuff in the attic. This time, he finds 2 of his father's cameras, the one that started it all, and a second one containing the recording of everything they've been through. In the next scene, David approaches a clueless Jesse Pierce to introduce himself, and demonstrating his knowledge of the future, tells her that soon they'll change the world. Thanks to everyone who watched until the end. On this channel, you can always find retellings of good movies,